Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, we must get prepared. That is right, we must get prepared because next weekend, just a week from today, is going to be the D23 event. And you know what that means. A lot of movie announcements, a lot of TV show announcements, and the comic book market collectively losing their minds, FOMOing over every single book out there in the market. So in this video, we're going to go over the D23 event. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to have a lot of fun here because I'm actually going to put on my tinfoil hat and we're going to go full Pepe Sylvia Spec-Town, trying to guess what properties they might be announcing.
But this whole box is Pepe Sylvia!
And then later on in the video, I'm going to talk about some of the books that might have certain implications in the market and might go up in value. So in this video, we're all going to get prepared with each other, whether that means you're someone who wants to sell your books, whether that means you're somebody who needs to, meditate to control your FOMO that is sure to come next week, or you're someone who thinks, you may be wanting to buy that one book that you've been thinking about. This might be a good time to sneakily pick up that copy. But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel, doing all those things, I would appreciate it. But let's get into this video here today. Now, of course, in case you guys don't know, D23 is kind of like a convention type of event. It's sort of like a San Diego Comic-Con type of thing, except it's strictly, catered to the Disney properties, the Disney things that are going on. And next weekend is actually going to be that event. And presumably we're going to be getting a ton of announcements. I mean, not just Marvel, we're going to be getting, Pixar announcements and Star Wars things and probably Nat Geo things and things like that. This video obviously is just going to focus on the Marvel stuff. But to kick things off, the first thing I wanted to talk about was this image right here, the poster that has been released to celebrate the D23 event. And this has been something that a lot of people have pointing to for speculation purposes. Like obviously we can see little Easter eggs here, like the Captain America shield. But there's some other things that are interesting in this poster that I think is worth talking about. The first one that people are pointing out is that right here you can see a Xandar ship. So a lot of people are thinking like, hey, this might be an Easter egg to the official announcement of Nova, the TV show. And I could definitely see that happening as being, some of the things that get announced at D23. So that could be very, very interesting for you Nova fans out there. Additionally, some of the other Easter eggs that people are pointing out, down here you see the Shang-Chi symbol. This is actually the crest that Shang-Chi has on his chest. So there could be a lot of announcements, within that world. We have a Spider-Man right here. This could be just celebrating the re-release of Spider-Man #3. Could be, pointing to other Spider-Man types of announcements. So that's really interesting. And then there are a few other Easter eggs on this particular poster right here. But those are some of the more interesting ones that people have been talking about that are probably shoo-ins to have some involvement in the D23 event. But let's kind of go into this and, indulge me here. I think this is going to be really fun for you guys as a video. This is going to be, a fun kind of Spec-Town situation here, where I actually spent some time thinking about, the Marvel slate that is to come, at least what we know so far. And as you can see right in front of you, I basically just built out what in theory is the Marvel calendar. And then I put kind of down here, in this lower left corner, all the potential kind of rumors and movies that we have so far heard about that are possibly coming to the MCU. And I want to kind of see if we can look at this calendar and see if we can start plotting out what would make sense for these shows and movies to come, knowing what we know about how Marvel typically builds out their calendar. So we have 2021 here. Of course, we're in 2022. So this to me, I think would be the blueprint of how Marvel has kind of built out their slate, where we see that they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 with Spider-Man, if we want to actually count that as an official Marvel one, although I think it's kind of a Sony hybrid. But we can generally see that Marvel typically puts out 8 properties a year. That seems to be, the trend that they've been following. Similarly, if we look at 2022, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're at She-Hulk right now. 6 for Werewolf by Night Halloween special, 7 for Black Panther, and then 8 for the holiday Guardians of the Galaxy special. So, thinking about this trend that we're seeing, I think we can start to make that determination that, there's certain months that they like to favor for Disney Plus shows and movies. It seems to be that they put out 8 properties a year. So let's look ahead and see if we can start to fill out some of the stuff that makes sense here. So we look at 2023, we know that Ant-Man is coming in February. We know that Secret Invasion is coming, and it seems to be that every March, Disney likes to put a Disney Plus show out there. So, I think we can assume that Secret Invasion will come in March. Then they have the May film, which right now is slated to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That makes sense. That's kind of the Doctor Strange equivalent movie, the tentpole movie of the summer. Then in June, it seems like Disney puts out a lot of Disney Plus shows. So it feels like Echo is the one that is slotted for that. We have the Marvels coming in July, which, lines up with Thor, Love and Thunder and Black Widow. So the Marvels movie will be in July. Then in August, they typically put out another show like they did with She-Hulk or What If. So I think Loki season 2 probably slots into that based on how they built out their timeline. We also know Ironheart is coming. So this is one that might be kind of, against the trend right here. But I do think that that's probably where it lines up to be. When we look at their, poster, as far as their lineups are concerned, they're saying that it's going to come in fall of 2023. And then we know that Blade is going to be the November film, much like Eternals was the November film or Black Panther was the November film. Now in 2023, it's going to be Blade right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different movies already slated to come in 2023, which means that, based on the trend, I think that means that 2023 is full. So that begs the question, what is going to come in 2024 and what is going to come in 2025? Because these are the ones that don't have that 8 property slate. In 2024, we have Agatha right now that is slated, House of Harkness, that's 1. We have Daredevil, that's 2. We have Captain America 4, that's 3. We have Thunderbolts, that's 4. And then we have Fantastic Four in November, that's 5. And then later in 2025, we have Kang Dynasty and Secret War. So let us kind of look at what is to possibly to come and see if we can start to fill in some of those gaps. So the films I have here and the shows I have here are ones that we've heard about or we can assume are going to be coming. But let's talk about them and what they could be and what they are right now. So we all know that Deadpool 3 is a movie that's going to be coming in the future. We could probably slide that in somewhere here on the calendar. I think we can assume that Shang-Chi 2 is also going to be coming at some point in the future. And actually, the rumored title for Shang-Chi 2 right now is actually Shang-Chi, The Wreckage of Time. So that's very, very interesting. This is one that I'm going to start talking about when we start to fill out our calendar here. We have Eternals 2. Now, I think a lot of you are probably thinking like, there's no way they're going to do an Eternals 2. I personally still think that they will, or maybe they'll rebrand it. Kind of like how they rebranded Captain Marvel into the Marvels. I still think we're going to get an Eternals themed property. I mean, maybe it's going to be led by Harry Styles, or it's going to be called the Celestials or something like that. But for, simplicity's sake, let's call it Eternals 2. There's been rumors of a Scarlet Witch movie, a Wanda movie. There's rumors of World War Hulk, and there's rumors of an Illuminati thing. So we can kind of table those for now. Then with the shows, we got Armor Wars. We know Armor Wars is going to be a thing. We have the 10 Ring show, right? Everybody was talking about how Daniel Destin Creighton was going to be doing a 10 Ring show. We have Wonder Man, another show that is rumored to be led by Daniel Destin Creighton. We have Moon Knight #2 here, season 2, which, hasn't been officially announced, but there's been kind of hints at Moon Knight coming back. And I think I know where that could be. We have Nova right here, which of course I think is going to be announced definitely at D23. We have the Wakanda show, which at this point might now be an animation. And then there's been a lot of rumors that there might be a Young Avengers property as well. Then we have animations, X-Men 97, Spider-Man, What If 2, and Marvel Zombies. I'm not going to talk about those right now. So let's kind of get into this and let's see if we can start to build out our calendar here. And the first movie I want to lead with is Shang-Chi #2. Now, Shang-Chi #2, the first movie, if you guys know, was directed by a guy named Daniel Destin Creighton. He wrote and directed the film, and he has been announced to be directing the Kang Dynasty film in May of 2025. And so what that means to me is that 1, he's going to be a busy guy, but 2, anything that happens in Kang Dynasty is probably going to be involving Shang-Chi in some kind of way. And I think it's really interesting to hear that Shang-Chi's rumored title right now is called Wreckage of Time, which leads me to believe that, Daniel Destin Creighton might be making a 1-2 punch as far as films are concerned. And if we look at the slate right here and we think about, Marvel always puts out a movie in July, I actually think that Shang-Chi 2 might be sliding into the July slot after Kang Dynasty. So we have this Kang event film, and then Shang-Chi comes in and it's, appropriately named Wreckage of Time because, obviously all the time stuff gets ruined in Kang Dynasty. So we have this Shang-Chi movie that eventually leads into Secret War. So I could definitely see this movie coming out here, and that would make sense for him as a filmmaker to have, these kind of back-to-back movies be coming out kind of around the same time. I'm sure he's going to be working on them for the next 2 years or so. So I could definitely see Shang-Chi sliding in there. But let's talk about, this filmmaker more, because another one of the shows that he's been, mentioned to be leading or producing or whatever the case may be is this show called The Ten Rings, which, might be about Shang-Chi's sister. Maybe it's going to bring back the Mandarin, who really knows at this point. But this is definitely an interesting show. And, if I'm looking at this calendar thinking that Kang Dynasty and Shang-Chi are going to be taking up a lot of his time, then to me, I think that the Ten Rings show probably has to come out sometime in 2024, because, if he's going to be filming Kang Dynasty all through 2024, he's not going to have time to oversee this project. So it's got to be a project that he's working on right now that he's going to get out before those, tentpole movies exist. And when I look at, 2024 here, and I see that there's going to be Daredevil, there's going to be Captain America 4, and there's going to be Thunderbolts, I have a feeling that all of these movies, these street level type of films, are going to have, a relation to each other. So I'm thinking that 10 Rings, kind of slides in into this like a street level kind of global event conflict. And if I'm looking at June and August, that seems to be the time that, Marvel likes to put out other Disney Plus shows. So I'm thinking that either 10 Rings comes in June of 2024 and will be announced at D23, or it's going to come in August of 2024 and will also be announced at D23. But I'm going to currently leave it in August right now because I think something else is going to come in June before we get the Thunderbolts film. So let's put 10 Rings there for now. Now, the last property that, he is rumored to be working on is this one right here, Wonder Man. We all got the announcement that Wonder Man is coming. I think at D23, we could maybe get a casting announcement, possibly. It might be a little bit far in advance to actually get that. But I do think that, they might recognize the idea that Wonder Man is going to be a show on Disney Plus. And, if we're looking at the slate here, we know that he's got to get these properties done, probably before Kang Dynasty. And we're thinking about where could this possibly sit in? Well, it could definitely come here in June, but I think I have a better idea of what show is coming there. Maybe it comes in September or October. That's a possibility. But again, I'm not quite sold on that slot. But if I look at 2025 here, where we have, the Wanda show that came out, then we have the House of Harkness show, which, has, sort of similarities to each other. And then we think about Wonder Man being a character that has many connections to, the Scarlet Witch and Vision. I think it makes a lot of sense to put Wonder Man in this January time slot of 2025. And, I started really thinking about what Wonder Man could be about. Maybe Wonder Man is going to be sort of that West Coast Avengers spiritual Disney Plus show that we're all thinking could be coming. Maybe he's going to have a team up with White Vision. Maybe they'll bring Hawkeye in it. They'll do their Hollywood thing. West Coast Avengers is in Los Angeles. So it seems like there could be a lot of connections there. And that could be something that is helpful in setting up Kang Dynasty. All right, so I was talking a lot about this June slot right here in 2024, and I had a better idea of what I think could slide into that. So let's talk about what show could possibly fit into that. And like I mentioned, we have Daredevil right here, which is presumably going to be, a lot of street storylines. I think Kingpin is going to be a huge person involved in this. We're leading into Captain America 4 with New World Order. We got the Thunderbolts. That's going to be kind of the blow off to New World Order. So what possible thing could be fitting in this sort of time slot right before we get the Thunderbolts film? And I'm thinking that a show like Armor Wars could have a lot of significance leading into Thunderbolts. All right, so that now leaves us with 7 properties here in 2024. So the question is, what is going to be that 8th property that we see? Let's look at this time slot that is kind of in the September-October time. In previous years, we had Werewolf by Night, or we're going to get Werewolf by Night. We're going to have Ironheart in this time frame. 2021, we had Shang-Chi, but that was, I think, due to, the COVID complications. So what could possibly slide into this? And I think, if we look ahead, we have Fantastic Four right here as the November film. That's currently where it's slated. I think that there could be a lot of things that are seeded here to kind of set this up. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is maybe we're going to see Nova, because, if Nova is going to establish some space elements, maybe it's going to, establish Galactus and Silver Surfer and other things like that leading into Fantastic Four. That's certainly a possibility. The other one I think that could be interesting here is Eternals #2. I mean, Eternals 2, obviously established the Celestials, and that movie could be leading up to Galactus and Silver Surfer, etc. And that would be perfectly setting up Fantastic Four. So I do think that although, it might be a little heavy on the movie side of things, Eternals 2 could slide in there, unless, of course, they change it to a Disney Plus show. There's also the possibility that this is where we see the Wakanda show. There's a lot of rumors right now that Doctor Doom might be showing up in Black Panther, and certainly Doctor Doom has a lot of connections to Fantastic Four, so the Wakanda show could also be the thing that comes out around this particular time. But I've heard rumors that the Wakanda show might now be an animation, so I'm not totally sold on that, which brings me back to, I think, Eternals 2. Now, I realize that, this might be a movie-heavy year, having a movie every other month, but I think that Eternals 2 makes a lot of sense here. All right, so we got our 8 properties in 2024. Now, let's try to fill out 2025. We have Wonder Man here in January. We got Kang Dynasty here in May. That's our tentpole movie. We got our July movie, which is going to be, Shang-Chi, Wreckage of Time. And then our final movie of the year is going to be Secret Wars in November. Well, here you can see in March, there's always been a Disney Plus show. We have Falcon and Winter Soldier. We had Moon Knight. We know we're getting Secret Invasion. And currently Daredevil Born Again is slotted for 2024 in this particular time slot. So the question is, in March of 2025, what is going to be the Disney Plus show that makes a lot of sense? And in my mind, this might be a little bit of crazy speculation, but I think that Moon Knight Season 2 could be the perfect show to slide into this. Now, why are you asking that? Well, if we think about Moon Knight having all of this lore with Egypt and having all of the mythos that exists within kind of the Moon Knight canon, then it does beg the question of like, oh, will we ever see, Rama Tut? We know we're leading into Kang Dynasty. Perhaps it would make a lot of sense to have Moon Knight set up the idea of Kang Dynasty in kind of exposing, who Kang was all the way back in the Egyptian times with Rama Tut. So I like the idea of having Moon Knight right here for Season 2, if in fact we get Season 2. Now, we currently have 5 properties existing in 2025, so we got to figure out what's going to come in June right here. That seems to be a very popular Disney Plus show month to put out stuff. We have August and September, also another popular time to put out stuff. So 1 or 2 properties would come in here. And then right here, we have this February time slot where we had Ant-Man. And let's start with that because I have a good idea of what could be coming as a movie existing early in 2025. And when we look at the potential movies here, got to get rid of Eternals 2. The one that really comes to mind right here is Deadpool #3. When we think about kind of irreverent comedy, much like Ant-Man, I think that Deadpool 3 makes a lot of sense to slide into this particular time slot leading into Kang Dynasty, because I think Deadpool can do a lot of legwork in kind of, catching people up. I think a lot of people are going to be going into the Deadpool movie and maybe they haven't spent the last, 2 years watching all of the Marvel properties. I actually think Deadpool could be this, comedic exposition for the general audience, explaining that Kang is coming and how Deadpool got here and how he traveled through the multiverse and all of those shenanigans. Now, we have a couple more things to talk about here. We have Young Avengers still, and we have Nova as well. So when we think about these 2 shows, I actually think that they're both sort of interchangeable to where they could go. I mean, we're looking at these slots right here. We have June that has a lot of Disney Plus shows, and we have August and September that is Disney Plus shows. And for me, I think that it could go either way, where we could maybe see Nova established sometime here after Kang Dynasty. We can maybe see Nova setting up Secret Wars, which actually that might be a more fitting thing. And we can have the Young Avengers coming right after Kang Dynasty right there. Obviously we have Iron Lad, his connection to Kang. So I can see, Kang Dynasty sort of establishing what happens, then going into a Young Avengers plotline, having Shang-Chi, Wreckage of Time kind of follow that up. Then we can kind of take a little bit of a break with Nova right here, where Nova can sort of explain some of the cosmic side of what is going on. And that can ultimately lead into Secret Wars right here. Now let's talk about some of the other things here. We have the Wanda movie, we have World War Hulk, and we have the Illuminati. Well, I do feel like we're going to get a World War Hulk thing, but part of me was thinking, just looking at the calendar, it doesn't feel like it's going to be able to fit anywhere. And then I had the realization that possibly the World War Hulk event is actually going to be the Thunderbolts movie. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense that, if Hulk goes like super, super crazy and then comes back to Earth to destroy Earth, maybe it's going to be the Thunderbolts that actually have to be the team to stop him. So that's actually my theory right now, is that, we're not going to get a World War Hulk movie, but I think that the World War Hulk storyline is going to play out in the Thunderbolts movie. I mean, obviously, General Ross, who, obviously has passed away in real life, he's the person that is forming the Thunderbolts, and he has always hated Hulk. And what better way to have his, team that he created combat the Hulk that is the rampaging Hulk that is attacking Earth. So I think that that's going to be probably where we see that plot line ultimately. Now, we also have the Wanda thing. I think that Scarlet Witch will eventually get her film, but but I see her film coming after Secret Wars. Like, I think that her film could be the perfect bridge, picking up Secret Wars, the plotline, and then leading into, presumably what we're going to get with the X-Men, because she's kind of that character that bridges both Avengers and X-Men. So I think that the Wanda movie will take place after the fact. I think we'll see her in the Young Avengers show, or possibly in the Wonder Man show, or the Agatha Harkness show. So that's where I think we're going to get our Elizabeth Olsen fix. Now, the last one we have to talk about is this Illuminati property. This is the one that I'm definitely thinking, like, it feels like we're going to need to see Doctor Strange and Clea at some point. I don't really know where we're going to get that plotline payoff. I do think that there is a small possibility that we maybe get an Illuminati show or Illuminati movie instead of an Eternals thing, sometime before Fantastic Four. That would make a lot of sense, because I think Reed Richards is going to have to learn about those incursions, and he's going to be the person that's ultimately going to have to stop them when we get to Secret War. So that was me kind of putting on my tinfoil hat, thinking about what projects could be officially announced at D23. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but I thought that would be kind of fun for us. But with that out of the way, let's talk about some books that could pop off in the market. We're probably going to get some casting announcements for the Fantastic Four, and I'm sure that's going to have an effect on the comic book market, although I can't imagine there's actually going to be anyone that FOMOs into buying Fantastic Four #1. I mean, I think that there will be a lot of Fantastic Four sales, but I don't know if there's going to be one quote-unquote winner book that we particularly see. Now, some of the other books that I think are going to move a lot is, again, this one right here, Avengers #8. I think we're going to get the trailer for Ant-Man #3, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to this book when we see Kang on screen. But that said, I'm not necessarily sure we're going to see all new record highs for this one, because we already got the price jump from the San Diego Comic-Con announcements, so it'll be hard for this one to continue to set record highs. Additionally, I think in that Ant-Man trailer, we might see MODOK. This book has already moved up a lot in the market, but again, just something to point out, because I think we'll see him. We'll probably see the High Evolutionary in the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. I think that this book could start to move again, but again, I don't necessarily think that we're going to see, all new record highs with it. But a couple books I do think are going to move in the market, off the D23 announcements is, I think this one right here has a really good chance to get hot, because again, we know that we have a Werewolf by Night Halloween special coming in October, but we've currently got no news about it. We've got no rumors about it. So I do think that D23 is going to spend some time talking about this particular show. And this one right here, Marvel Spotlight #2, first appearance of Werewolf by Night, the Jack Russell version, I think is going to be a book that picks up a lot of steam. Additionally, in this show, there's been rumors that Elsa Bloodstone is going to have a role in the show. I think that this book can continue to move in the market. It's already kind of gotten hot. But one of the books I think is really going to explode, and again, it's not necessarily a book that hasn't already been moving, but Savage Tales #1 here, this is the first appearance of Man-Thing. I think that this could have a lot of movement in the market. And another book that really could be one that pops off is Astonishing Tales #13. Now, this is the third appearance of Man-Thing, but it's the first cover appearance of the character. And I do think that if we get the Werewolf by Night announcement that Man-Thing is coming, I think a lot of those Man-Thing books are really going to pop off, in the coming weeks. We got this cover appearance here. We got like Man-Thing #1. We have, Adventures into Fear 19, which I think is his first solo series. So I expect a lot of Man-Thing books to get a lot of FOMO coming off of the announcements of D23. Another couple books I expect to have some movement in the market is Daredevil #131, first appearance of Bullseye, and Daredevil #168, first appearance of Elektra. I could definitely see us getting a little more information about the Echo show, and additionally the Daredevil Born Again show at D23. I think right now it's already been announced that Charlie Cox and Kingpin are going to have a role, or Vincent D'Onofrio are going to have a role in the Echo show. And I think, just to give the fans a little bit more, Kevin Feige might also say that, hey, we're bringing back Bullseye, or hey, we're bringing Elektra into the fold. On top of those two, I can also see announcements coming out about John Bernthal Punisher returning in Daredevil Born Again, which of course, Amazing Spider-Man 129 is the first appearance of the Punisher. I don't know how much more this book could possibly jump, but I think it'll certainly see movement in the market if we do get that announcement. And then there's other characters like, Hero for Hire right here, first appearance of Luke Cage, and there's another character here, Alias #1, first appearance of Jessica Jones. Two other characters that have been kind of rumored to be returning to the MCU, and it feels like Kevin Feige can definitely make some announcements about the return of Kristen Ritter or whatever the case may be. Now, some of the books I think are going to be making huge comebacks after D23 are this one right here, Special Marvel Edition 15. Like I already mentioned, I think Shang-Chi 2, Wreckage of Time is going to be a huge movie in 2025. I think we're going to get announcements of the 10 Rings, and I think there's going to be an acknowledgement that Shang-Chi is going to be a big character. So I think this book is going to rebound pretty well after D23, and this is definitely one I would watch out for. Additionally, I think we're going to get another update with what's going on with Moon Knight, what's next for him. I think they're going to announce that he's going to have a role in the Blade movie. So I do think that, Tomb of Dracula number 10, Werewolf by Night 32, and also Avengers number 48, first appearance of Black Knight, are all going to have little spikes in the market due to the fact that we're probably going to get some announcements, if not specifically shows for these characters. I think that we're at least going to parade them out for the Blade film that is going to come in November of next year. Now, some other books that I think are going to have some impact coming off the heels of these announcements. This one right here, Iron Man 282, first full appearance of the War Machine armor. I think we're going to get the official Armor Wars announcement. Probably going to get details about what's going to happen in that particular show. And I think that this book is going to move a lot in the market. Additionally, Avengers West Coast number 94. This is the first time that he takes up the name of War Machine. So this is another book that a lot of people like to get if they're fans of the War Machine character. We have Iron Man number 120. I could definitely see Sam Rockwell being announced as being a part of the Armor Wars show. So I think that that would be huge if for this book right here, which is the first appearance of Justin Hammer. Additionally, there's books like Tales of Suspense number 46. I could see this book moving kind of like how the MODOK book moved, where we have like an announcement that one of the villains of the Armor Wars show is going to be the Crimson Dynamo. That would make sense if we want to incorporate, David Harbour, Red Guardian, characters like that. Additionally, I think we're going to get the Deadpool 3 announcement with Ryan Reynolds. I could see this book kind of rebounding. It's definitely had a big correction in the market, but I think people will get excited about that. I also think that, they might announce that Josh Brolin will return as Cable in the Deadpool 3 movie. I mean, I think Josh Brolin enjoys doing these superhero films, so I could see New Mutants 87 having a little spike in the market. And on top of that, I could actually see that when we get the Eternals 2 thing, or say it's the Harry Styles Disney Plus show, or whatever the case may be, I could see Kevin Feige saying that we're going to be bringing back Thanos, because maybe it's going to be a prequel, or it's going to be a variant version of Thanos, because I think that we're going to incorporate Thanos in the Secret Wars event film, and I could definitely see that happening. So I would definitely look out for Iron Man number 55 as a book that could potentially get hot, next week with D23 announcements, and then a couple other books to talk about. West Coast Avengers number 45. Maybe Agatha House of Harkness is going to involve Vision. I could definitely see that happening. So we have Avengers number 57. Both those books could possibly move in the market, because I could definitely see, some kind of announcements incorporating Vision and Wanda and Wonder Man and that whole storyline all together. Anyways, that was a long video, but let me know what you guys think. That's all I got. Just me kind of talking about what could possibly be coming for D23 next week. I think it'll be interesting. It's sort of hard to predict, but I do think that there's going to be some crazy announcements and a lot of movement in the market. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think is going to be announced out there? Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and stay prepared.